you got the skate bug at a time when skating was very unpopular.
Yeah.
And I remember it vividly because your dad reached out to me.
I've never heard your side of this story.
It's a little fuzzy.
Okay, good. Yeah, I figured it would be fuzzy.
He hit his head a lot. So
almost 30 years ago, we're talking about, right?
Well, I would have been 6, so I'm 33 now. So yeah, it was 27 years ago.
And your dad sent an email to me or my website. I don't know. Those like the early days of email too.
I don't even know how.
It's like, hey, my son loves skateboarding and we're going to have his birthday party at NCS YMCA. And my first thought was, that's awesome that like there's a young kid into skating.
Yeah,
that's how rare it was. Truly, that you were so committed to it. And he's like, I'd be really stoked if you came by. And that was my spot because that was the only place to skate back then. And then so I hung out at Ryan's 7th birthday party?
Yeah, sixth birthday party.
You were pretty pumped, right?
Oh, we were juiced.
Tony Hawk's at your birthday.
It was fun. And also just seeing a new crew of young skaters was, like I said, it just wasn't happening.
We brought our whole street, all these kids in San Clemente, we brought them all down to YMCA and we watched Tony. And I think that's when it was like the blue vert ramp that kind of had the bowl.
It had the bowl, yeah.
It had the bowl. That ramp was so sick.
But I remember skating the street course.
And then, but you did your deal. And we watched it and we were like, whoa, dude, like this is gnarly.
Birthday demo.
You know, it was sick. But
I think your dad tried to pay me.
He did. I think he tried to give you $500. You probably took it.
I might have, yeah.
I guarantee
I'm looking back on it.
Seriously, back then,
like that was what year would that have been?
I think you had a funny response. Man, I wish we still had the email because my dad, you know, the way he remembers it was like you said something about chocolate cake. It was mostly about chocolate cake. And so we did have...
Oh, you mean like, what do you want?
Yeah, like, what do you want for it? And you said chocolate cake.
You got a chocolate cake for his birthday?
I think it was more like, yeah, just save me some chocolate cake. It was probably something like that.
Yeah.
There wasn't 2 cakes, one for Tony and one for Ryan?
No, but like, think about, like, I think about it all the time now just because of, you know.
But what year would that have been? And I can tell you if I took the money or not.
It would have been 95.
Oh, yeah, I took the money, for sure.
Yeah. 95.
I'm
pretty sure
95 was a rough one.
I'm pretty sure you took the money.
So that wasn't the intent.
Of course not.
But I did have a blast.
Yeah.
And I just, the hype with you guys, and I could just tell, like, you had it. You know, it's pretty obvious when there's a kid that they're not just skating because they're trying to fit in or whatever. They're skating because they're devoted to it. And you were already, like, on your way.
I was hyped, dude.
So when I later heard your name coming up through the ranks, it was just like, oh yeah, that kid, of course.
Well, then, bro, two years later, I got to do a demo with you, and that's where that photo of me wearing the World Industry shirt, and it's at nighttime, and I think it was at a fairground or something. Me and you did a doubles little thing. I did a kick turn, you did an air over me. And then
I got the Soul Bowl, maybe.
I don't know. It could have been. I got to do like a little signing and stuff. So, but I had like. From 2 years after hanging out with you that day, like, obviously I was like, okay, game on. Like, I am going.
So now he's 8.
Yeah.
And now I'm 2 years older and I'm like actually skating better. And I had been competing in Castle those whole 2 years and like California Amateur Skateboarding League and kind of running through the ranks of that. And then got the opportunity to come skate with you again. And you remembered me and I was like, dude.
How old were you when we used to hang out in Ventura?
Oh, I'd have been around 8.
It was about then.
Skate Street?
Yeah, Skate Street.
Yeah, his mum.
Skate Street was sick.
His mum wrote a letter, and it was back when, you know, fan mail for Jason Ellis wasn't a huge thing. And they were like, "Hey,
he's a pioneer in so many ways."
Yeah, seriously, he was like, "You got a fan letter," and I'm like, "Really?" And it was like, his mum was like, you know, my son skates. He loves your style, all this stuff. He's at Ventura if you ever want to skate. And I was like, only fan? Yeah, I want to meet this kid. And he had my shit on. He had like a Ellis board and wheels. And I'm like, really?
Sick.
And
when you saw him, he had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ripped. And was one of the first. It reminded me of like you and Cab in the old videos where your head's bigger than your body.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're like a bobblehead skateboarder.
Yeah.
But I could already tell he could already do everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I wonder how good that kid's going to end up.
It was It was wild too because you didn't
Real
really
good.
have any. You didn't have any peers that were aligned like that.
No.
You know,
Yeah, it
I
was you
had
were solo.
like I had the the Bones Brigade or
Right.
with Kevin and Rodney and people, but I felt like you were on this other trajectory and you were so young there was like no one to really identify with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird because coming up, even in Castle, like I had kids, like Dylan Reeder, rest in peace, and like he was like an acquaintance for sure. Like when we were young, and we became really good friends. But it was like Tosh Townend and all of these.
Riley was in the mix there too.
And Riley was in the mix, and it was like all these people, but I never really like hung out. I didn't have like a crew. I didn't have a crew to skate, like you said. Like it was my mom and my brother and my dad, and we would like.
But that makes it way more challenging.
I live in San Clemente at the time, and we were going up to Ventura twice a week.
Yeah.
My mom was just like, "Yeah, we're going to Skate Street," and I don't realize it until now. Like I had to go up to Ojai recently for something, and I was driving. I'm like, this is not like my mom did this for fun.
Oh yeah.
Just to sit down and read a book, let us skate for 8 hours.
Both of your parents are legendary, dude. Like the story, talking to Tony, birthday, and your mom writing a letter to me, like all those things made me, like not just me, like we know you and we liked you from the get-go, and especially having a parent back then introducing a kid to me, I'm already like, fuck off. But because I'm being honest, like really, mummy, like get out of here. But she was so sincere, and he was a good kid, so it was just like you were like, hey man, he didn't have a lot to say. He was a little kid, and we were talking, but I was like, this dude's not a kook. I like this kid already, and it's like, you've only said like 5 things. Yeah, I'm gonna skate. I'm gonna do this. I'm like, yeah, man, do it. Like,
I appreciate it, dude. And back in the day
parents
too,
are awesome, dude.
my dad always knew that kind of maybe the helmet was gonna be like a stigma thing for us, but like we had to wear them. So he had this pinstriping friend, and so all our helmets always had pinstripe flames on them, and they were like, he tried to make them cool.
Yeah.
Which we felt cool. I always felt fast, even airwalk. Like I got airwalks because Tony wore airwalks, and I would put those shoes on, bro, and I thought I could run so fast. When you're a kid and you're like, I put on a pair and start running, and I tripped and hit my face, and it's like, oh, these shoes are fast. They're gonna skate good.
Wow.
And I was like,
That's an interesting
stoked,
theory.
But that was always that was the thing, man. What you guys did for me as a kid by just letting me be around is a life lesson that like I've held on to, and now I get to pay it forward. But if I didn't have that experience when I was a kid, maybe I wouldn't be who I am today. Like I was accepted by skateboarding, and I think that's why I've had so many interesting experiences with skateboarding mentally, where I'm like, man, but all my like early memories were so like dope and like so accepting, and then all of a sudden you start getting to a level, and then all of a sudden you're like, he's ruining skateboarding. You can't do this.
Who says that?
You can't do this. Oh, bro, it was like a whole thing, and we won't get into names.
Wow.
But it was like a whole thing. 17, 18, 19 were really rough years for me as a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Mind you, I did make decisions to do an MTV show and all these other things.
That was
I think
bad
it was
for
more.
skateboarding?
It was more that they didn't like to see you embracing
Jealous, dude.
the success and the opportunities.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I went through that exact same thing.
Yep.
I know you did.